After a weather delay of more than 2 hours, we are set for baseball here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's the Wake Forest Demon Deacons against the West Virginia Mountaineers in the championship game. This is game 6 of 7 possible. If Wake wins tonight, the regional's over. If West Virginia wins tonight, there will be a 7th and deciding game tomorrow. Even though we're at Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons will bat first as the road team in this ball game. And keep your eye on the middle of this lineup that has produced as well as any in the country. Stuart Fairchild, Gavin Sheets, the best 1-2 punch in this regional here this year. And they will be facing a very familiar foe. Yes, that is B.J. Myers, the Friday night starter for the Mountaineers this year, who was coming out of the bullpen just 2 days ago.
Yeah, a little change for the Mountaineers. Randy Mazey said that B.J. needed some motivation, kind of falling into a little bit of a lull. And this allowed him to be more aggressive coming out of the bullpen, to attack hitters a little bit more. And he said that's just what he needed. And boy, did he do that in game 1. So we'll see how everything turns out tonight for this guy. But he's back in his familiar role as a starter tonight.
And Myers' first pitch is taken outside by Jonathan Pryor. They say it's 70 degrees here right now, and that's about 15 degrees lower than it was this afternoon before the storms rolled through. Bouncing ball handled by the third baseman Cole Austin, and there's one away. And Jake Mueller will come up. You know, I alluded to the fact that Wake Forest had all day to just relax. We did see Fairchild and Sheets in attendance just down below us during the afternoon game between Maryland and West Virginia. They were taking pictures with fans. I mean, they weren't out soliciting it. They were obliging to the fans here at Wake Forest and just enjoying a nice, relaxing afternoon, getting ready for tonight's ball game.
Yes, anything to pass the time, and while you're at it, why don't you do some scouting? And that's what they were doing. They're actually sitting behind home plate, possibly seeing maybe some reliever, or who will they possibly see tonight. And surprise, B.J. Myers out on the mound.
And then during that ball game as well, we saw a number of the Demon Deacons gathered down in the left field corner just out of play beyond the bullpen, which at that time was the West Virginia bullpen. Now, for this game, it's the Demon Deacons bullpen, as it normally is. If I haven't confused you yet, I'll continue on that. It does take a little bit of thought when you're in a ballpark and who's the road team, who's the home team, and so this is Wake's home field. They should feel at home, but they get first licks here tonight. And that's a 1-out single for Jake Mueller.
Hot shot right back at B.J. Myers on the mound. Think about this. Just this Friday afternoon, 5.2 innings, 4 hits, 1 base on ball, 1 strikeout through 77 pitches, faced 22 hitters. So does he have it to come back tonight? I guess we'll find out early. And when it's single elimination for you, it's all hands on deck. And this afternoon, had to go to the bullpen for the Mountaineers. So how many arms do they have left down that first base line?
Stuart Fairchild stands in with a 360 average. If you had a guess, John, how long do you think at very best B.J. Myers could go tonight?
You know what, it's purely a guess, but I'm thinking if he can get him 3 innings, maybe that will be pretty good. And I say that because you like to have that starter on the mound. You don't want to take a reliever out there and put him in a position he hasn't been in before. And B.J., of course, is very comfortable in the starting role. All Friday night starts for this year for B.J. So having him start this game, I think it's kind of a lift for this Mountaineer team, having him out there.
No doubt. It certainly seems like a reasonable expectation from your perspective, 3 innings and then figure it out from there.
Sure.
Swing and a miss for Fairchild.
3/4 arm slot for B.J. Myers, and you'll see that tail into the right-handed hitters as that ball just did there. And tell you what, aggressive swinging for this Wake Forest team as they'll come out and try to beat you up early. But the Mountaineers, they've got an answer to it too. They've scored a lot of runs in this tournament.
And Fairchild's been in the middle of much of it. 4 for 7 through the first 2 games for Wake Forest. Fairchild has a couple of doubles, has also walked 3 times, so he has reached base 7 out of his 10 plate appearances. Mueller leads from first, Myers to the belt. And waiting on deck, big number 24, Gavin Sheets, the hero of last night's game for the Deeks. Fairchild just got a piece of that one. After swinging through consecutive pitches, he stays alive at 2-2. Fairchild, a 6-foot, 205-pound athlete, junior from Seattle, Washington. Patrols center field very, very well, along with that potent bat at the plate. The first team All-ACC center fielder fouls that one away to stay alive. And whenever Wake Forest season comes to an end, either tomorrow here or next weekend in Super Regionals or in Omaha, this young man is likely to turn professional. He's expected to be a very high draft pick for some major league team in the coming days. And he has been an impact player right from the time he got out of Seattle Prep and came east to Wake Forest, a freshman All-American, and it's gotten better from there.
And it's just amazing his approach at the plate. He's got great balance up there. You never really see him lunging out front and missing. Typically waits back very well on pitching.
Able to lay off the pitch. And the count goes full 3-2.
And because he can commit so late, gets a good look at it. He doesn't swing a lot of bad pitches, as you notice there.
And he generates a lot of power. 15 home runs, 61 RBIs. Mueller goes with the pitch. Swing and a miss. Throw trickles into center field, but it's a strikeout and a stolen base.
Big strikeout for B.J. Myers there. You don't see that very often. Fairchild going down. A nice throw by Gonzalez. We saw him earlier today against Maryland throw out a runner, and not many people have challenged Gonzalez behind the plate, and when they do, they typically don't come out very successful. He is one of the best behind home plate.
And we get an early visit. Derek Matlock, the pitching coach. You know, we've talked all weekend about the fact that West Virginia's down so many pitchers. Their Saturday and Sunday starters for most of the year, Michael Grove and Connor Dotson, down for the year with injuries. And so in that context, B.J. Myers wins the WVU game of Survivor. And for WVU to survive, he's got to be a winner. And there's no way around it. They need him to lead the way. Take a look there, a few sprinkles coming down, even while we have sunshine on the field itself. Here's Gavin Sheets, the walk-off winner last night. He got a little extra hand, round of applause, a little more vigor when he was introduced to the audience just now.
So B.J. Myers has to be the survivor. He's kind of been that all year for this team as they lost over 200 innings of pitching with injuries. It's been amazing how they've been able to piece everything together to get them to this point of the season with an opportunity playing here for a chance to play tomorrow for a championship.
As has been the case most of the weekend, the wind is blowing out. Just off the corner. And Myers falls behind 3-0.
87-mile-an-hour fastball, and you can see the tail away from the left-handed hitters. Trying to force you to chase after that thing and make weak contact, try to get a ground ball.
Strike one. Gavin Sheets with a .318 average, 20 home runs, among the top 10 in the country in that category, and 81 RBIs, none more dramatic than last night's game winner. Ball four. Mueller's at second. He singled and stole a base. Gavin Sheets takes his base, and that'll bring up Ben Brazil, serving as the designated hitter tonight.
Now you see Gavin Sheets down at first base, that walk, and that's a look at Mueller at second base. But Sheets, I don't think, was going to get a good pitch there with that first base bag open, even early in this ball game here. You don't want him to hurt you. Boy, he hit a loud foul ball last night and got everybody at the edge of their seats.
Swing and a miss. Brazil has split time all season behind the plate and DHing with Logan Harvey. Brazil caught the first 2 games of the regional, Harvey DHing, and now they've flipped around, so Harvey will work behind the plate.
Hey boy!
Drive, left field, base hit. Mueller will score. Sheets slams on the brakes at second. It's an RBI single for Ben Brazil, the senior from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
For Brazil, let's see where this pitch is located. Again, it's that tailing fastball. It doesn't try to pull it. That's typically going to get you a weak contact and a ground ball, and he takes it into left field and drives in the first important run of this ball game.
And it doesn't get any easier from here. Number 2 in black steps in, Johnny Aiello. He's got 18 home runs, second on the team, 50 RBIs. Had to jump out of the way of the first pitch. 1-0. Sheets from second. Brazil not being held on at first with a good lead. Big swing and a miss by Aiello, the sophomore from Lansdale, Pennsylvania. He tried to be a switch hitter last year as a freshman. It didn't work out, and between himself and the coaches, they decided, hey, let's just have you bat from one side. It's worked out very well.
Yeah, I don't know why you would even try to go to the other side if you've got that much talent and the ability to swing it like that and the power that he has. Sticking to one side, and Coach Tom Walter said that this guy's got more raw power than anybody else on this team. That's including the big guns like Gavin Sheets.
First base umpire Eddie Newsom says that Aiello did not check his swing.
Well, maybe not the same amount of people as we had here last night, but a little vocal early in this game.
That'll get down for a base hit and score another run. RBI single by Aiello, scoring Sheets. 2-0 Deeks.
Not the big fly ball that everybody's been used to seeing here at Wake Forest, but a little station-to-station baseball for the Deeks early in this ball game as Aiello drives this one to right center field again, giving themselves up, not giving the, not going after that long ball, but doing what they need to do to just drive in runs. So important early in a ball game.
Big smile on the face of Johnny Aiello after delivering the RBI single. 2-0. Bruce Steele now takes his turn at the plate. And Brazil on that single read it well. Able to get from first to third. Some men on the corners. A ball and a strike. Now, in an elimination game, we have seen pretty much every coach be very quick to pull a starter if they get into first inning trouble or any early trouble. A ball and 2 strikes. But in West Virginia's case, and with this being the pitcher on the mound and with their relative lack of depth down there, they're just going to ride him until he can't go anymore, I think.
I have to agree with you. There's just nowhere to go down in the pen. We mentioned it before, not a lefty on the roster.
Well, that'll help him. Aiello gets picked off. Mental lapse there. He was going nowhere, I wouldn't think. And so a runner is stranded at third, but the Demon Deacons come up with 2 runs in the top of the first inning with the Mountaineers coming out. Back inside David Couch Ballpark. Wake Forest with a 2-0 lead. With West Virginia coming up. With John Gregory, I'm Doug Sherman, and the Mountaineers in their second elimination game of the day will line up like this. And it's pretty familiar with what we've been seeing right along. About the only change is that Zarbniski is back and playing center field as opposed to DHing. And that Michael Grove, again, is one of their pitchers, one of their injured pitchers who will not be playing. That's just holding a place until his spot in the lineup comes up. And they'll be facing Donnie Sellers, making his first appearance of the regional. The 6-foot junior right-hander from High Point, North Carolina. Has very good stuff and is a pretty good option here for the Deeks.
Yeah, no question about that. He was a guy that last year would work out of the bullpen. He'd get some starts, but had a lot of saves last year, but he's developed another cutter. He's added an extra pitch, and that's allowed him to get in this rotation for this team. 4 pitches that he can throw for strikes, about 88 to 91 with a good sinker. He's added that cutter, and that really has become his out pitch. You'll see that around 83 to 86 miles an hour. So if he's having success tonight, it's going to be because of that cutter.
He's ahead in the count 1-2 to West Virginia's leadoff man, Kyle Gray. Gray batting .261. Sellers working quickly, and he punches him out.
Three pitches there, fastball, cutter, and a breaking ball to set him down. And you're going to see all 4 from him, and that's what people like about it. You're a starting pitcher. If you've got that 4th pitch, most of the time you'll see guys fastball, curveball, change, or some type of cutter, something to give you 3 pitches. But if you can add that 4th, really is a difference maker.
Strike 1 to Ivan Gonzalez. The honorable mention all Big 12 catcher. Strike 2. That one goes to the backstop.
And I see why. He reached back and grabbed 95 on that one. Almost like, I'm just going to show you I got the fastball here. Let's see if he comes back with the breaking ball. It's almost like I'm just going to show you I can let it go a bit.
Line drive, base hit over the shortstop, steal. Cut off by Fairchild. It's a 1-out single for Gonzalez.
Oh, Gonzalez says, I see your fastball. Go ahead, try to throw me that little cutter in there, and he delivers it in the left field, and Gonzalez continues to play exceptionally well, as he has throughout this entire year and this regional.
And that brings up Darius Hill, a .308 hitter, 4 homers, 45 runs batted in. And the number 3 hitter in the WVU lineup takes the ball outside. Hill 5 out of 12 in the regional so far with 1 RBI. There's a strike in the outside corner. Well, Sellers never pitched through high school. He was an outfielder, came here to Wake Forest as an outfielder, then wound up being used exclusively out of the bullpen the last couple of years in terms of his pitching. And now this is his first season as a starter, and it's worked out real well. He did a lot of closing last year as a sophomore, had 5 saves. Hill sends Fairchild back. He got a late start, and it goes off his glove. Pudge Gonzalez stumbles around third base, but he's going to score. It's an RBI double for Darius Hill.
Boy, with all the bragging we've done about Fairchild at the plate and in center field, this one's surprised. Not the first time we've seen this. He makes a step in and then tries to get back in time, turns and runs, but not able to do it. You sent wind blowing dead out to center field. Gonzalez getting on his horse. You can see him smiling as he came around third base. He knew he had plenty of time. And
yep.
Funny to see that smile as his teammates will get on him about that.
Plenty of time as long as he didn't fall. If he stays upright, he scores easily, and he did. So it's 2-1. West Virginia gets one of them right back. And the cleanup hitter, Cole Austin, stands in. 300 batting average, 7 homers, 43 runs batted in. Short lead at second for Hill. 2 balls and no strikes.
I think really important for the Mountaineers to put a run on the board. Anytime you give up a run, if you can get one back in the next inning, that's key. As far as Wake Forest, the best inning to shut a team down is after you give up or after you score a couple runs.
There's another base hit to settle. Fairchild charges, and they will hold the runner at third. And all of a sudden, Sellers is not fooling anybody. Gonzalez a single, Hill a double, Austin a single, and that'll bring a visit from the third base dugout by Matt Hobbs, the pitching coach for the Demon Deacons.
Hobbs' visit to the mound fairly short, just letting them know we're early in the ball game here. Don't let anything get away from you. Got everybody in here, just talk about double play situations, get a ground ball here, try to get out of an inning. More importantly, to do anything is just settle Sellers down. You know he's pumped up. He's been sitting there watching a lot of ball games and just waiting for your opportunity to get out there. Sometimes you can try to do a little bit too much and overthrow, like he did on that 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Good boy.
Pulled the string, 81 miles an hour, and Jackson Kramer swung over the top of it.
Hey, Craig, hey, Craig. Come on, good boy.
Strike 2. The mound visit so far has paid dividends.
Started Kramer with a change, came back with a breaking ball here. Let's just see if he shows him fastball or stays off speed here.
And you can see in that center field camera shot there, number 17, the shortstop, Bruce Steele, playing almost even with the second base bag. They play Jackson Kramer as a dead pull hitter. At least on the infield, center fielder Stuart Fairchild is shaded towards left. There is out number 2, second strikeout of the inning for Sellers. And now the left fielder Kyle Davis will come up with a .317 batting average. Second on the team to Kramer with 10 home runs, 44 RBIs. Nice job to pick that pitch by Logan Harvey. Swing and a miss, and again blocking the ball down to make sure that the runner at third, Hill, stays put. Good job by the backstop Harvey.
Work now, baby. Let's go. Come on, Ham.
Fastball misses up, 2-1.
Good pitch here to possibly maybe send the runner. If you get a strikeout here, Davis can lead off the next inning.
There he goes. They throw down to second. Not in time, but the sole purpose of Jake Mueller, the second baseman, was to receive that ball and keep an eye on the runner at third.
Cole Austin with good speed down there at the first base bag. Doesn't surprise me he took off there. Get some guys moving around. You got a good hitter in Kyle Davis at the plate that makes really good contact. If he was able to get the ball and play anywhere, you got guys moving and you got an opportunity to score Hill at third. Really good jump. No chance to get Austin.
Davis draws a walk, and the bases are full of Mountaineers. And here is Braden Zarbniski. Average up to 336. Sellers working from the windup. Ball one. Hill at third, Austin at second, Davis at first. 2 balls and no strikes, and another mound visit. This time it's the catcher who'll go out and hand deliver the baseball. High fly to right. Playable for Keegan Marinpo. The Mountaineers get one back, but they leave the bases full. At the end of one inning here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, it's Wake Forest 2 and West Virginia 1. That's coming up in just about 35 minutes from now on ABC. Have you ever seen Steph Curry's pregame warm-up routine and the shots that he takes and goes into the tunnel and takes shots from whatever it is, 40 feet away and swishes them? It's remarkable. He has finished all of that, and it's just about game time. You check that out on ABC and keep us going on your iPad.
Must watch. You know, he's just amazing to see the talent that he has and what he can do.
And as the face of the Davidson Wildcats athletic department, I am sure that he has paid at least a little passing attention to the NCAA baseball tournament, what his alma mater has been up to. That's a drive deep to right field. Hill going back. And in one hops up against the fence. Steele, the shortstop, slides in with a leadoff double.
Another good start for Wake Forest here in the second inning as they lead off with the double here again. Reaching out, not trying to pull it. The power to all fields here. The ball carries very well to right field, but the wind today a little different than what we've seen. More out to left field than we've seen throughout this entire regional. Still out, dangerous. A lot of runs possible with this wind tonight.
Steele leads at second. This is Keegan Marinpo. Offers at the first pitch and fouls it out of play, facing B.J. Myers.
Still nobody up in West Virginia's bullpen. Doesn't surprise me early. Again, not a lot of guys to go to down there, but they've asked a lot out of B.J. Myers. They got a lot out of him on Friday. They're expecting whatever they can get for him tonight would be great.
Well, Keegan Marinpo at the plate really epitomizes what the Wake Forest offense puts up numbers-wise. A lot of home runs and a lot of strikeouts. One of the most prolific home run hitting teams in the nation. Marinpo himself with 12 home runs, only a .216 batting average. He's kind of all or nothing.
He's one of those guys, if he starts to get hot, he can carry your ball club for a long time. But when he's cold, you're right. Struggles up there. Wake Forest, you see there, led the ACC in runs, home runs, total bases, bumping up against 100 home runs on the year.
Offers it that, sends it high and deep to right. Under it on the warning track, though. Hill puts it away, tagging it second, moving to third is Steele. He gets there standing up. A productive out for Marinpo. It is something how well the ball carries to right.
Yeah, it's almost in this ballpark. You would like to, instead of hitting a ground ball to the right side, maybe just loft it out there and possibility of getting it out of the ballpark. But one way or the other, you're able to get your runner over to third with one out.
And up steps Logan Harvey with an opportunity to drive in another run with a ground ball. The West Virginia infield playing at normal depth. Look like they're willing to give up the run. Regardless, he lines it over top of the leaping third baseman Austin. Walking in to score is Bruce Steele.
When you can have guys in the number 8 and 9 hole doing what they do, it just really extends this batting order. And Harvey with his 26th RBI of the year as he drills this over Cole Austin. Ball quickly get out to the wall. Cut off by Davis, but no chance to get Steele as he hesitated on the line drive, and it went over Austin's head. He just kind of walked into the plate.
And Myers has been giving up a lot of hard hit balls. Here's a bunt attempt by Pryor. Almost beat it out. But he does move Harvey into scoring position with the bunt. And they give him a sacrifice. And for the second time in as many innings, Jake Mueller will come up and take his chances against Myers. He singled, stole a base, and scored the first run of the ball game last inning. Mueller's a sophomore from Columbia, South Carolina, and he takes a strike out of Richland Northeast High School. Second team All-ACC. Time called by the batter just before Myers went into his delivery. So no pitch.
Trying to read the body language of B.J. Myers tonight. Remember him Friday afternoon, how fired up he was emotionally coming out of the bullpen. Kind of that bulldog mentality. I don't know if he's trying to save it tonight. I just don't see the same fire necessarily into tonight. Not that he's not trying, doesn't have his heart into it. It's very difficult ask to be able to come back after the number of pitches that he threw.
Well, based on your formula, John, that as you turn around a pitcher based on the hours and the pitches, I mean, he pitched all those innings Friday afternoon. It's now Sunday evening, so what, maybe 50 pitches, 55 pitches would be reasonable?
I think so, yeah. That's what, depending on your efficiency getting through.
Well, it's going to be even tougher here. That's his 42nd pitch. It's an RBI double by Mueller. Harvey scores to make it 4-1 Wake Forest.
Mueller with his second hit. Again, Wake Forest offense tonight playing more station to station rather than the long ball, but what they're doing is most of the hits that they're getting are opposite way. Not trying to do too much with it again, just delivering it to the opposite field and moving the guy along, and with that, that one sneaks down the line for a double and another run scored.
So Mueller takes Harvey's spot at second base, and Fairchild comes up. He was a strikeout victim last inning. And he falls behind, 0-1. High fly ball, shallow right. Hill comes in and makes the grab. Two runs on 3 hits and a runner left on base. 2 runs again in the second inning for the Deacs, makes it 4-1 Wake. Back to Winston-Salem with John Gregory. I'm Doug Sherman. The Demon Deacons of Wake Forest playing as the road team on their home field, leading West Virginia 4-1. Donnie Sellers, who struggled his way through that first inning, delivers a first pitch strike to Jimmy Galuski. And the count is 0-2.
At the end of that thing, I was watching Randy Mazey as B.J. Myers was coming in to the dugout. They never spoke or anything. B.J. Myers went the opposite way, so don't anticipate any changes or anything like that. Didn't ask him how he was feeling. Again, I think if you could get 3 out of him tonight, that would be pretty good. If maybe they can get 4 out of him, who knows, depending on how efficient is next inning. But right now, Sellers trying to work on the Mountaineers, and their job now is to do what they did earlier today against Maryland, and that's just chip away and fight to try to get back in the game.
Galuski, a strikeout victim to begin the bottom of the second. And we see that Kevin Brophy will be the designated hitter. For more coverage of the Division I Baseball Regionals and interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com. So Brophy officially a pinch hitter here. And again, this is a ploy that Randy Mazey and some other college baseball coaches use so as not to tip their hand. They get a few more minutes to figure out who they would prefer to bat as the DH in the number 9 hole. So Brophy, the left-hand batter with a 308 average, checks his swing. Third base umpire Darren Hyman says he did not offer at the pitch, so the count is 2-1. Three and 1.
We talked about Sellers' fastball and his cutter, but what's been really effective tonight is the changeup, and we're going to get it again right here.
The walk will turn the lineup over. We go back to the leadoff man, Kyle Gray.
Second baseman, number 9, Kyle Gray.
This afternoon, West Virginia won its 34th ball game of the year, the 4th place team in the Big 12 Conference this year. Gray takes a strike. Well, teams continue to be eliminated, as is the case on Sundays during the regional weekend. Illinois, Chicago, the number 4 seed in Hattiesburg, was knocked out. USF, the 2 seed in Gainesville, is gone. Gray with a deep drive, and it is out of here, a 2-run blast. West Virginia pulls within a run.
Kyle Gray had a couple hits against this Wake Forest team last night. Boy, he seems to be really comfortable in that left-handed box there as he turns on this one and hits it off the flagpole out there in right center field. Again, West Virginia strikes back after Wake Forest scores 2 in the top half of the second. They're able to put a couple on the board, get right back into this thing 4-3.
First pitch swinging. Gonzalez has Steele. Throw him out. Beautiful gun from deep in the hole.
Long gun, he used the carpet, and Gavin Sheets Kind of an in-between hop, but Sheets able to come up with it over at the first base bag for the out. Here's the throw. He plants, throws it off the turf. Gavin Sheets, not the easiest scoop there. You don't like that in-between hop, but he stays with it and makes the play.
Darius Hill skips out of the way of the pitch. He doubled last inning.
How scrappy is this Mountaineer team?
Boy, they looked like they might have been dead in the water at about, what, 1 o'clock this afternoon, down a few runs. But their bullpen figured it out, and they kept chipping away against Maryland and ultimately knocked the Terps out. Well, they gave up 2 runs at the top of the first. They score 1 at the bottom of the second, or bottom of the first. Top of the second, they give up 2 more. They get them right back, and still going against Donnie Sellers. Three balls and a strike.
Hold on, eh? Boy.
The sophomore from Dallas takes strike 2. It's a full count. Reaches out and slaps it foul down the left side, and they'll do it again.
You see Darius Hill at the end of that swing, a little pirouette. He slapped it down there.
Yep.
A little dance.
Looks like it might have caught a piece of him that time on the foul ball.
Hold on.
He's got that short little compact stroke. Just
not
gets
a
through
lot
the
of
zone.
extension,
Nope.
right? A lot of shoulders, and it's like that bat tied to his chest.
Which would make you think he'd have a hard time covering the outside corner. He gets the call there. It's ball 4.
I think that's a good call.
So do I. So does Darius Hill.
He didn't want to give third base umpire Darren Hyman any chance to ring him up on that.
Nope.
He was about halfway down the line when the decision was made.
He did a Pete Rose Charlie hustle right down to first base. Aiello, that'll retire the side. But how about the pesky Mountaineers? They gave up 2 in the top of the second, get them right back thanks to Kyle Gray, whose 3rd home run of the year cleared the fence in right center, ricocheted off the flagpole, and gives us a 4-3 ball game as we head to the 3rd inning. The ESPN networks are bringing you every game on the road to Omaha, beginning with regional coverage on ESPN2, ESPNU, SEC Network, and ESPN3. All games available on the ESPN app. As we begin the 3rd inning, Gavin Sheets, who walked and scored a run, takes a second pitch out of the zone, and so the junior captain could get himself a good pitch here. Well, his eyes lit up, but swung over top of the off-speed pitch, the 47th pitch thrown by B.J. Myers.
I think he was thinking like Doug Sherman that time. He was going to get a good pitch to hit, and he got fooled with a change.
Now give me a nice 87-mile-an-hour meatball. I'm going to hit it a mile. Well, maybe he's thinking the same thing now with the 3-1 count. Well, we saw what Sheets could do in terms of driving the baseball yesterday. It went foul, but still it was impressive. Line shot. Myers recovers and gets the out.
Part of your job as a pitcher is to be able to field your position. This is a big reaction right here of a ball hit pretty hard off the bat. Watch Myers react to this thing. Don't panic. Thought he had it at first. Calmly goes over there, and the thing he did that I like is he picks it up barehanded. Sometimes you'll see guys go down with the glove hand. You don't want to do that. Reach down barehanded and make the throw.
Ben Brazil, who had an RBI single in the first, fouls the pitch out of play. I was talking about the teams eliminated so far today. Holy Cross beaten by Yale out in Corvallis. Florida Gulf Coast also gone. Oklahoma gone. But the big headliner is that the Arizona Wildcats, last year's national runner-up, gone. So neither of last year's final two teams, Coastal Carolina or Arizona, going to be around for Super Regionals. Of course, the Chanticleers did not qualify for the Field of 64. But it's not that unusual, I guess, John. This is the fourth time in the past 10 years that neither of the previous year's College World Series finalists made it past regionals.
Quite a bit of parity in college baseball right now. You can have success one year, doesn't mean you're going to have it for the next. And it's typically the teams that you see, like this West Virginia team, Wake Forest team, that get really close the year before, and they come back ready to go immediately. And they just build on the successes from the year before.
Kramer, nice stop. And there once again is the pitcher Myers fielding his position very well. Over to cover on the 3-1 putout. Brazil retired, and that'll bring up Johnny Aiello.
Glove up, get over there. First baseman, nice job knocking that ball down there. B.J. Myers heads up to get over to the bag, steps on it for the easy out.
Two nice defensive plays to begin the third inning for West Virginia. 1-3 put out and a 3-1 put out. And here is Aiello, RBI single in the first that made it 2-0, but then he got picked off. Foul off the catcher. And so with that, the home plate umpire instinctively checks on the catcher and goes out to the pitcher to give the catcher a little chance to try and shake that off. So you think catching's easy?
My dad called them tools of ignorance.
Yep.
That's what you put on.
Absolutely. Good thing you were left-handed,
yes.
Right? Didn't have the chance. Well, with Coastal Carolina and Arizona not being able to go past the regional round, it's the second year in a row, actually. Virginia and Vanderbilt met in the title game in 2015, with Vanderbilt winning, or rather with Virginia winning, excuse me. And neither the Commodores or the Cavaliers last year made it past regionals. Pretty good off-speed pitch right there. Aiello way out in front. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We're at that pitch mark where you were mentioned 58 pitches for B.J. Myers, and they can get through this third inning. Maybe they can get a fourth out of him. Who knows? Maybe a fifth.
Ground ball. Galuski again with that long throw, but not in time. An infield single for Aiello.
What a throw by Galuski. Again, a long throw. Watch. Bang, bang play at first. Looks like he just beat it out. And he's talking about the emotion of B.J. Myers last inning. He was into that one there. He didn't agree with the call, was jumping up and down, thought he may have had him, but boy, was it a bang, bang play.
Yeah, I think the umpire over there, Eddie Newsom, got it right. And so now Myers works from the stretch. Steele takes it low and outside. Bruce Steele's a redshirt sophomore from Jupiter, Florida, out of Cardinal Newman High School. Had a redshirt with injury last year, and he's having a fine redshirt sophomore season now. He gets ahead in the count 2-0. Well, even though that Galuski play does not go down as an assist, we have seen some fine infield defense this half inning by the Mountaineers. 2 balls and a strike.
I've been especially impressed with Galuski at that shortstop position. As I said earlier, decision making on when to throw, when to hold it, not throw it. And he's been impressive at the plate, found some power in the first game.
Yep, couple of home runs, 2 of the 6 home runs in West Virginia's opener here on Friday. As we talked about that day, Jimmy Galuski, the shortstop, He is one of the key pieces for the Mountaineers, and he knows what it means to be a Mountaineer because he is a native son of the state of West Virginia out of Preston High School. Grew up making the 30-minute drive from home to Old Hawley Field to watch West Virginia play its ball games. Now he's the shortstop out there in the NCAA tournament. I mean, he wasn't even alive. He wasn't even born yet the last time the Mountaineers were in the NCAA tournament. Now 21 years since their last time in the big dance. They've got a native son playing a very fine shortstop position. Runner goes on the 3-2 pitch, taken inside, and so now Wake Forest has 2 runners aboard. Well, it's up to 65 pitches now for B.J. Myers, and the West Virginia bullpen remains quiet. High chopper, easily handled by Austin, and he applies the tag to Aiello. For Wake Forest in the top of the third, no runs, 1 hit, and 2 runners left on. 4-3 Deacons. I'll tell you what, Donnie Sellers, the right-hander for Wake Forest, probably isn't disappointed that the audience didn't get to see his first pitch just now because it went to the backstop. There's his second pitch. Also misses the zone. 2 balls and no strikes. Bottom of the third inning. Finally got a 0 up on the board in the top half of this inning, but Wake Forest threatened then too, left a couple of runners aboard. The pitchers have had their struggles. Sellers gave up a run in the first, 2 in the second on a home run by Kyle Gray. Now he fights back and evens the count at 2-2. Three balls and 2 strikes. Well, Jackson Kramer is among those in this regional field hoping that he's got a future in professional baseball ahead of him. He probably will get a shot. 3 unassisted there for Gavin Sheets. And now Kyle Davis comes up for the second time tonight. He walked in the first inning. And if you're Donnie Sellers, much like his opposite number, B.J. Myers, he certainly could use a quick and easy 1-2-3 inning here. Well, he's 2/3 of the way there. Throw a little bit high, but fortunately for Wake, Gavin Sheets stands 6'5" over at first.
Made sure, kept the foot on the bag, and then stayed there a little bit longer, just so Freddie Newsom, the first base umpire, knew he was on the bag.
Braden Zarbniski. I'll tell you, one of the most appealing things to me about the way Donnie Sellers works is that he works very quickly. There is no wasted time or motion. He just keeps right on working. I mean, if we put a stopwatch on him, what is it, 10 seconds between pitches?
Yeah, and the guys behind him love that.
Ground ball up the middle, and even though the shortstop is able to knock it down, it then goes as an infield single for Zarbniski.
Zarbniski, how impressive is this kid? What he can do out of the bullpen, what he can do with the bat, his defense, his speed. Now he's got the ability to steal bases for you. He'll slap it anywhere. You've got to be ready. Got to play him up the middle because you can't play him to pull. You don't know where he's going to hit it.
Yeah, he's a perfect 12 for 12 stealing. You think he might go here with Galuski at the plate?
2 outs. Depending on the count, I don't think he goes early in it. If it's a strikeout situation, maybe you do, and then you've got him leading off the next inning if you get the throw out at second base.
Big swing by Galuski. Now the rhythmic applause comes from the fans for Wake Forest. Another opportunity for Steele. Not a 1-2-3 inning, but a quick, efficient inning for Donnie Sellers. He allows an infield single, and that's it. Finally, goose eggs both on the top and the bottom of the line score. It's 4-3 Deacons as we head to the fourth. And the pitchers just got through a scoreless third inning, and that is worth a headline because the offenses were dominant through the first two. B.J. Myers on for his fourth inning of work. Facing the 9-1-2 hitters. Harvey puts a charge into it. It's a leadoff single for the Wake Forest catcher.
Harvey in the number 9 spot for this team is like a second leadoff guy. 405 he was hitting on the year in that leadoff spot, so he continues to rake every time they put him out there in the number 1 hole.
Come on, BJ.
And so the head coach and third base coach, one man and the same, Tom Walter, flashes the signs. And Jonathan Pryor takes a strike. You were telling us during the rain delay, explaining how your head baseball coach in high school, your varsity baseball coach, is that who it was, had the best indicator you've ever seen for when giving signals, giving signs?
Yeah, got to have a good indicator. His was just movement of the feet.
Boy.
So he can flash you the same sign over and over, and if he's not moving his feet, it doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah, really tough to pick up if you're not thinking about it.
Well, you did it here in the booth to me. You explained it to me, explained what you were doing, what the sign was, and I still didn't get it until you fully explained I got to be moving my feet. You went through like a series of 6 signs. I was baffled. I had no idea.
Well, you take a look at coaches when they're standing down there. So you got some guys, see, he's walking there. That would count. That could be an indicator. See that?
Yeah, and that was the little
closed fist.
Yeah,
what was that?
Just,
the
that's
steal,
exactly
right?
what you
that
had.
Was the steal.
Look at you. Well, it's the game within the game. There are so many games within the game of baseball going on, and it's just neat to get all the subtleties and complexities of it from people like yourself who's been out there and done it. Myers' pitch taken outside by Jonathan Pryor, who's 0 for 1. He grounded out in the first and then laid down a sacrifice bunt in the second. Foul ball. What'd you say your varsity coach's name was?
Jack Markham.
At what high school?
Lake Worth High School, Lake Worth, Florida.
There you go.
Yeah.
Coach Markham have a big influence on you coming up, I imagine?
Had a huge influence. I remember going to him when I was a young kid watching high school baseball, saying, I'm going to play for you one day.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and he remembered it.
He didn't say, get away from me, kid?
No, I'd chase foul balls and bring them back for a quarter, so he needed me. He needed me there.
Ball 4 to Jonathan Pryor, and the Demon Deacons have their first 2 runners aboard. Now, you were telling me earlier this weekend you had 7 guys on your varsity baseball team who signed professional contracts, including yourself.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually.
Yep. Either signed, went on to college, and had a chance to play after that. None of us made it to the big leagues, of course, but certainly had a lot of fun playing. We were a group that grew up together, as you see so many teams that have success growing up in high school, Little League, and Bronco, Pony, Colt League baseball. We all played together, so it was nice playing with a group of guys that you knew all throughout your high school career.
Well, that is really remarkable to have 7 guys in such close proximity in age from one school to turn pro. Jake Mueller showing bunt, takes it inside. To my knowledge, my high school has never had a single person sign a professional baseball contract. So to hear you had 7 on one team, one group, it just blows my mind. Good thing my team wasn't playing your team. It wouldn't have worked out so well. Mueller again showing bunt. West Virginia infield defense has a lot of moving parts out there. Kramer at first, Gray at second, Galuski at short, Austin at third. The 77th pitch by Myers, bunted to third, bobbled. Austin has no play and the bases are full. They give him a base hit on the bunt.
What a great effort. Austin playing in at third base, still not able to get there in time as he was hustling down the line. Even with a good throw, I don't know if he had a chance to get him.
So Harvey goes to third, Pryor to second. Mueller reaches on the bunt, and the bases are loaded for the number 3 hitter, Stuart Fairchild. You know what? Fairchild has not had his best swings in 3 plate appearances against Myers. Other guys seem to be getting a good look, and I'm not sure he's picking up the ball quite as well as we are accustomed to with Stuart Fairchild. He struck out in the first, flew out to right in the second, but within that, there have been a lot of swings and misses.
Yeah, there certainly has been, but watch him. If he can get some balance up there, he's not going to overswing. I love the way he just kind of lifts that front foot and just sets it down gently and doesn't go out over that front foot. He's got a lot of patience, and that's what allows him to drive the ball to the opposite field. He did it against Miami in the ACC championship, hit 2 home runs in that ball game, hit one to left on a fastball, got a changeup up and away and delivered it over the right field fence.
Driven deep to left. There it goes. A grand slam by Fairchild. Well, I'd say he's figured him out. The junior out of Seattle Prep handed the shovel or spade by his teammates as he receives high fives coming back to the dugout.
Check out those numbers. 97 home runs this season. Fairchild's 16th now, and boy, bases loaded, nowhere to put him. You put it in a place where he can get that groove swing on it. He gets the fastball, it looked like, and he delivered it over the left field fence again. And hard to keep him down for any length of time as you see Randy Mazey making a walk out to the mound, and he's got to be telling B.J. Myers, thank you for the effort, giving me the giving him the baseball and saying, you know what, you gave me all you got. I asked a lot of you on Friday and put you in a situation you're not typically in, and got to give it to you, B.J. Myers. That was a heck of an effort for him to be able to come out tonight and do that. He did.
No doubt. The junior from Flower Mound, Texas, even though he leaves the ball game trailing 8-3, gave everything he could to the Mountaineers. We'll take a break and come back right after this. The reliever Shane Ennis has his first pitch, fouled off by Gavin Sheets. Our pitching change, B.J. Myers leaves after giving up the grand slam to Stuart Fairchild to make the score 8-3 Wake Forest. Sheets fouls that one off. And we're getting our first look at Shane Ennis, a right-hander, stands 6'2", 200 pounds, from Romney, West Virginia. And he's just going to try and keep Wake Forest at bay.
You see the numbers there, 12 strikeouts in 12 innings, 10 base on balls, not the number you want to see. That ball drifting foul down the left field line, but Ennis had a career high 5 Ks and a career long 3.1 innings against Oklahoma State in the Big 12 tournament, so he's had some recent success there. 3.1 innings, they'd love to see him be able to go 3 or 4 tonight.
There's a good look at Ennis.
Snap it!
Scalded into left center field. Playing deep was Zargniski, able to cut it off and hold Gavin Sheets to a loud single. His first hit of the night. And Wake Forest just keeps on keeping on.
I like how you describe that loud single, because it is loud. It comes off his bat, it just sounds a little bit different. That pitch was up, and he just stayed on top of it and hammered it to left center.
Ben Brazil puts a charge into it, and it will go. Second home run of the inning. They've scored 6, and the lead balloons. It is 10-3 Wake Forest.
Well, it was station to station earlier in this ball game. You know, get them on, get them over, get them in. Now it's, again, big flies for this Wake Forest team as they begin to open it up here on the Mountaineers.
6 batters have come to the plate this inning. All 6 have gotten on base with 5 hits. Johnny Aiello very nearly joined the party. And they have all come in to score. Harvey singled, Pryor walked, Mueller got on with a bunt single, Fairchild grand slam, Sheets single, and Brazil with his 8th home run of the year. He's now got 47 runs batted in, including 3 tonight. And we wondered if this pitching situation for West Virginia would ultimately catch up with them. We may be seeing that here. Just without so many of their arms available due to injury. And you know, it's one thing to have a regular weekend series, but this is a little different. You know, there's no tomorrow in these games, so you coach differently and you pitch differently. And if you are short in the bullpen, quite likely it's going to catch up with you eventually.
Anytime you get into, whether it's a conference tournament, a regional, super regional, any double elimination, you're going to need the arms down there. And it's the good pitching and timely hitting. You have to play some solid defense behind it all, but pitching will get it done for you during these times.
Aiello down on strikes. That'll bring up Bruce Steele. Well, so far collectively, teams in the ACC like Wake Forest are 11-3. 2 of those wins are by the Demon Deacons. The league that's done the best so far in terms of wins and losses, the SEC 14-3. And then the Big 12 is 8-7. How about the Big 10? They struggled right out of the gate. 4 of their 5 teams lost their openers on Friday. Right now, the Big 10 is 3-9 overall. And 4 of their 5 teams have been knocked out.
Always interesting to see, you know, first out, last guys in, how they perform. But the Big 10, yeah, has been a struggle for them this year.
Steele fouls it back. 92-mile-an-hour fastball out of the right arm of Shane Ennis. ball and 2 strikes. Steele's been on base a couple of times already this evening, doubled and scored in the 2nd and then walked in the 3rd. He's the 8th man to come to the plate here in the 4th. How about the regional out in Corvallis? Of course, all eyes out there because Oregon State's been the dominant team all season, the #1 national seed, only 4 losses this year. And they certainly the overwhelming favorite to advance not only through the Super Regionals, but to Omaha. Many people picking them to win it all. Yale has done something in Corvallis that school's not done since 1948. That is win multiple games in an NCAA tournament. So Yale's got 2 wins, still alive. They're the last team standing with Oregon State out there. And the last time they won more than 2 games back in '48, Yale went all the way to the College World Series. Now nobody expects them to get out of Corvallis. They figure they're going to be heading back to New Britain, Connecticut with a couple of losses sooner than later. But credit to them for having what's been one of the best seasons in recent program history for sure. Consecutive strikeouts now for Shane Ennis, and that'll bring up Keegan Marinpo.
You know, all those wins, they don't always once you've got all those 50 wins, that doesn't mean you're going to win the World Series. There's been many times where teams out there have had great seasons, racked up a lot of wins, 40 plus, and haven't been able to take home the championship. So although they may be the favorite, and probably rightfully so, I mean, they're loaded lineup with a great staff. You just never know. I mean, that one team gets hot. It's really about who's playing their best at the end here. You know, who gets hot at the plate, but good pitchers will stop good hitting most of the time, and we've seen that over and over throughout these regionals through the years.
Well, you know, back in '48, Yale had a first baseman whose name might be familiar to you. He went on to become president of the United States, George Herbert Walker Bush. Well, after giving up a 2-run homer to Ben Brazil, Shane Ennis strikes out Aiello, Steele, and Marinpo, but the inning was all Wake Forest. A grand slam by Fairchild, the 2-run shot by Brazil, and the lead is 7. 10-3 as we head to the bottom of the 4th here in Winston. ESPN2, ESPNU, SEC Network, ESPN3, we've got you covered. It's the Bases Loaded channel. We've got every game for you on the road to Omaha. All games available as well on the ESPN app. Wake Forest on top of West Virginia, 10-3. The Mountaineers staved off elimination with a win this afternoon over Maryland, but in so doing, they further taxed their pitching staff, and it may have finally caught up to them. Now let's see how the right-hander for Wake Forest handles such a big lead. Donnie Sellers, after his team scored in the top of the 1st, John, allowed a run. Top of the 2nd, Wake scores a couple of times. He gave him right back bottom of the 2nd. So now after getting a big lead, let's see if he can put up a shutdown inning and really help keep West Virginia down. That's not a good way to start if you're Wake.
And you're right. You don't want to give up that run, especially the first time. He already did it once, then he did it a second time. You don't want to do it a third time. You'll get a visit to the mound quickly, even with a 10-3 lead. We've said it over and over. Randy Mazie has said it, the visiting coach here. Said it's really the home team tonight, but visiting this ballpark, he said he doesn't feel safe or never did with a 8-1 lead, 9-1 lead. So certainly feels like his good hitting ball club could still be in this ball game. They just got to find a way to get on here and maybe get a couple big flies out of here. This Mountaineer offense is explosive, and they can get back in this thing.
Well, Kevin Brophy worked his second walk of the game to begin this bottom of the 4th inning. He leads off of first. Ball ricochets off the glove of Sheets. He recovers to get the out at first base. Well, first you're thinking double play, then you're thinking they're not going to get anything. Wake did pretty well just to get the one out.
And I think Sheets is just walking this off. Let's see if this ball hits him in the leg. I don't know. I thought he reacted like it did, but heads up job, getting to the ball again and again, using his bare hand to pick it up, not with the glove. Take a look. Does this go off of his? Nope. Off of the heel of the glove. He looks where the runner is, makes sure that Sellers is coming over to cover the bag, and gets it there in time for the out.
Yeah, and as you've talked about repeatedly this weekend on comebackers to the mound, if you don't field it cleanly, the worst thing you can do is panic, and in Sheets we saw no panic at all.
No, and you won't typically, from infielders that are experienced in it, you'll find that mostly on the pitching mound. We've seen some pitchers throw it away and get an error because of it, and instantly you get a runner in scoring position.
Ivan Gonzalez takes one up and in. Gonzalez 1 for 2. He scored a run in the first. Well, we've got our first action of the night in the Wake Forest bullpen. It's Chris Farish, 6'4" right-hander. Last year was drafted by the Cleveland Indians, but decided to come back for a senior season. And that's the difference between these two teams right now. You've got fresh arms out in the Wake bullpen and not so much in West Virginia's. Ripped into the corner, and, well, West Virginia's getting a run back, and here they come. Gonzalez slides into second base with an RBI double.
And that's a tribute to what Randy Mays recruits, the type of guys that are not going to give up. And you can see that dugout still has life in it. And led by Gonzalez, he's out there at second base. Randy Mays, he wants those type of guys that are going to compete. And we talked earlier today about the wide area of recruiting that he has to have to get the players in that he needs, and goes down to Texas and gets them. And Gonzalez, I'm sure one of those 20 relatives that typically come to his ball games when they're at Texas are watching it on the Watch ESPN app.
Darius Hill takes a strike. Yeah, looking at West Virginia's starting lineup, they typically send 4 Texans out there. 4 of their top 5 hitters in the lineup hail from the state of Texas. Bouncer past the mound. Steele on to first, just in time for out number 2. Moving over to third base is Gonzalez.
Steele had to field that ball on the first base side of the second base bag, and Mueller didn't expect him there, really. Watch how this, again, communications, I've got it. You don't normally have to call a ground ball, but Steele comes all the way over to make that play. And just in time. I don't know if Mueller gets it if he makes the play.
I agree. His momentum would have been going the other way, and he'd have been hard-pressed to make that same play. Hey, look at that score that just flashed by. Bottom of the 4th inning, Xavier is leading Louisville 2-0. The Musketeers, who barely got into the field of 64, did so as an automatic qualifier out of the Big East, giving the Cardinals a good game. Nothing in 2 to Cole Austin. Austin 1 for 2, jumps the batting average up a point to 301. He's the cleanup hitter for the Mountaineers, trying to clean up here with Gonzalez at third. And he does just that. The merry-go-round continues for the Mountaineers. He's going to cruise into second with an RBI double of his own. Anything you can do, I can do better.
That's right. Cole Austin swinging a hot bat as well. His second hit on the night, and congratulations to Gonzalez as he comes in there. Take a look at Sellers' reaction to this. He knows he gives up a hit. frustrated with himself because he knows right now he's on a short leash.
Make it hurt.
Austin now 2 for 3 tonight with the RBI. He stands at second with Jackson Kramer taking his turn.
Good. I'm Jack. I'm in.
That ball goes to the backstop. Hustling to third is Austin. And as Logan Harvey, the catcher, lost his footing, it was an easy advance. And once again, West Virginia knocking on the door.
Well, we talked about how they had to come back against Maryland earlier today after being down in that ball game. They got 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, and the big inning in the 8th that allowed them to take the lead.
Here he comes from third. Safe! And the reaction from Sellers sitting there in the batter's box tells it all. Consecutive wild pitches by Donnie Sellers and great heads up and hustle by Cole Austin, and the Mountaineers manufacture another run. It's 10-6.
Well, we said they're going to continue to fight, but, and you said, can they put up a couple runs here in this inning after this Wake Forest offense putting on a big number? Well, they certainly have. They've cut the 6 runs that they've had back to 3, and you can see that 66 wild pitches on the year for Wake Forest. They throw a lot of them, but normally they get such good run support. That's how they win a lot of ball games.
At the rate we're going, we've got a final score that's going to look like Robin Ventura and Pete Incaviglia were playing.
No. Randy Mazie said he got off the bus earlier today, saw the wind blowing out, thought he was going to have a lot of runs scored in the first game, but we're getting a lot tonight.
Sellers rebounds by striking out Kramer, but not before West Virginia puts 3 on the board. 10-6 as we head to the 5th. Mountaineers fans know that their team won't quit. Down 10-6 now as we head to the 5th inning. We're joined by West Virginia head coach Randy Mazie, and every time Wake scores, seems like you guys are ready to get right back in there.
Yeah, did you say 10-6 in the 5th inning? Are you serious with that?
Sorry, your place kicker missed the extra point.
Yeah, no doubt. Either we have a bad extra point kicker or a really good field goal kicker, one of the two.
Coach, talk about B.J. Myers. You know, he was in relief through 77 pitches the other day. Big heart tonight to step out on the mound for your guys today. And what'd you have to say to this kid after his efforts tonight? I know it wasn't what he wanted, but how about his effort just going out there for your team?
Yeah, that's what I told him when I went out there. I thanked him on behalf of all of Mountaineer Nation for the effort that he gave everybody in this dugout and everybody, all Mountaineer fans everywhere for trying to get us to play next weekend.
Coach, we appreciate the time.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Well, his team just keeps on clawing, and now they need a shutdown inning from their relief pitcher, Shane Ennis, who closed out the 4th inning by striking out consecutively Aiello, Steele, and Marinpo. So if he can get a shutdown inning, or 2 or 3, maybe the Mountaineers can keep on climbing. He's facing Logan Harvey, and then back to the top of this Wake Forest batting order.
Randy Mazie's an interesting interview, isn't he? A lot of fun.
A lot of personality and a lot of appreciation for what he has in Morgantown, the support that he has, and the fans who've made the trip and are still here despite a 2-hour weather delay.
And how emotional was he with his team after they knew they were coming in, they earned it. Their record this year, their RPI, everything they did this year, the resume said they needed to be here, but still, hearing your name called and the reaction of your players, you know, he was really emotional for this team.
Yeah, and that continued throughout the rest of that day on Monday when the brackets were unveiled, repeatedly choking back tears while he talked to the media. Off the end of the bat, short hop by Kramer, and Harvey is retired.
You know, and all of that is not, all those tears aren't for him. Yeah, he's happy, but it's always about the players. It always goes back to that. He knew how close they were last year and how frustrated that they didn't make it in there. And B.J. Myers was one of those guys. You know, he said, I'm going to remember this forever, not getting in there last year. And he was one of the motivational guys that said all that, so it didn't surprise me that he wanted to take the ball tonight.
And Randy Mazey's the guy, along with his assistant coaches, who go into each of those living rooms and talk to those high school kids and convince their parents that West Virginia is the place for them, and they put their trust in him and vice versa. And I would think that's where a lot of the emotions come from as well. Mazey in his 5th year at WVU, a 1988 graduate of Clemson University, where he was 3 times All-ACC as both an outfielder and a pitcher. Played some minor league ball as well, but he seemed to be destined to be a big-time college baseball coach right from the start. You know, people forget perhaps that he had a great 3-year run as head coach at East Carolina, where he led the Pirates to 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments, including a super regional appearance in '04. But then he decided it was time to take that next step in his career, and he went on to TCU and helped the Horned Frogs go deep into the NCAA tournament time after time, including a 2010 College World Series appearance, and that helped to spring him into a position where he could get a big job at West Virginia and help lead them into the Big 12 Conference. Jonathan Pryor draws himself a walk. Second time he's gotten a free pass in as many innings.
Number 6, Jake Mueller.
Jake Mueller, a perfect 3 for 3, singled and scored in the first, doubled in a run in the second, and then a bunt single and a run scored in the 4th. That average climbs up to 358. Strike 1.
Checking out Cole Austin down at third base. After that bunt last time, you'd think Austin would maybe take a couple steps forward, just beyond the third base bag there. He knows any given time Mueller could lay one down.
Snap throw. They very nearly got Jonathan Pryor napping, just wandering his way back to first base, and he is breathing a sigh of relief.
I don't even think he knew what happened. You could see him walking back to the bag, and he was fortunate to get back there, and that's why you've got to pay attention every second you're on the base paths. You get back to the bag, get your foot on the bag, and immediately look at third base for coach's signals.
And first base umpire Eddie Newsom, we saw just before we went to the replay, pointing into the West Virginia dugout, didn't like what he was hearing. Well, now Pryor gets a free pass down to second base on the wild pitch from Shane Ennis.
And how about that? You're inches away from getting him picked off, and then he finds his way down to second base. And you're right. Sigh of relief for Pryor as he's standing in that second base bag. Wake Forest, if anything we've seen over the last couple of days, they've been picked off a few times on the bases. Maybe some mental mistakes there. Outside of that, they haven't made a whole lot, both defensively or at the plate.
Now the 1-2 pitch. 2-2 to Mueller. We get word that Colin Palouse, a right-hander, is warming in the Wake Forest bullpen. Ripped to right center field. A perfect 4 for 4 night for Jake Mueller. They'll hold up the runner at third, and Wake's got runners on the corners.
Mueller having a night, as you say, 4 for 4 now. A hanging breaking ball by Ennis that time, and Mueller just deposited out in right center field. Thought Pryor had a chance to score there. They got on it pretty quick, and Had to hold him up late down. Tom Walter gave him the stop sign at the last minute at third base.
And so you're flirting with fire once again. Up steps Stuart Fairchild, who last inning belted a grand slam with a low line drive that cleared the wall and left. He's now batting with runners on the corners on top 10-6. Strike called at the knees. Mountaineers reliever Shane Ennis bends at the waist, peers in for the sign from Ivan Gonzalez. Pryor leads from third, Mueller from first, and they've got Mueller picked off. Pryor now starts for home plate, and he is out.
Now Mueller's got his hands up like he thinks that Ennis was some type of balk, and Tom Walter was talking to the third base umpire that time. I didn't see it, just a fake to third base, and again, Wake Forest picked off the bases. And defensively, as bad as Wake Forest has been running the bases in this regional, West Virginia has been just as good defensively, picking guys off, throwing behind runners, catching guys stealing.
And his fake to third, it looked a little different, like he didn't.
A little quicker?
Yeah, and whether he separated from the rubber properly, not sure, but it did look different. Whether it was a balk, can't say, but the umpires out there agree that it was not. 2 outs. The runner at second is Jake Mueller. And the very dangerous Stuart Fairchild still in there with a 1-1 count. And the junior out of Seattle Prep fouls it back to the screen, falls behind 1-2.
Unless you have some type of hit and run on, and you've got this guy at the plate, you just can't get picked off there. I mean, you got a guy in a situation here that can drive the ball all over the ballpark, somewhere in a gap. You just got to be a little bit smarter on the bases. Unless he was going on first move, and it didn't necessarily look like that.
And the first inning ended for Wake Forest when Johnny Aiello got picked off. We very nearly saw Jonathan Pryor a few moments ago get picked off first base, and then he winds up getting thrown out trying to score after Mueller left first and got himself into a pickle. Once again, the 1-2 pitch from Shane Ennis. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 10 runs, 13 hits, no errors for Wake Forest. 6, 7, and 0 for West Virginia. Love that manual scoreboard out there in left.
Come and get it, Dave.
The 2-2. Lifted deep down the right field line. Does it carry? Indeed it does, over the wall for a second consecutive home run for Stuart Fairchild.
Don't know how you can describe it anymore besides just the power and the ability to hit it to all fields, whether it's a changeup. I told you he did it twice in the ACC championships, or tournament, I should say. And again tonight, the display of power, the ability to turn on a fastball and pull it, or take an outside pitch and drive it over the right field fence. And it's not just in this stadium where the ball carries out. He's done it wherever they've played this year.
And not his first multi-home run game of the year. He hit 2 home runs last Friday against Miami in the ACC tournament in a game that they lost.
Dude, we just hit a home run. You weren't here.
He homered 2 times back on April 11th against the reigning NCAA champs from Coastal Carolina as well. His career high that night came with 7 RBIs. He has tonight 6 RBIs with the 2 home runs, and we're still only in the top of the 5th inning. So for Stuart Fairchild, have a night. Now 17 home runs on the year and 67 runs driven in. Gavin Sheets takes a strike. It's 2-2.
Or as Randy Mazie would say, 2 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Get in the box!
Sheets is 1 for 2, scored a couple of runs. And with the shift, that winds up being a base hit. With a more traditional infield defense, it would have been a routine play for the second baseman. Instead, it's the second straight hits for Sheets. And the inning continues for Ben Brazil.
Sometimes the percentages go against you. They've had him played correctly a few times to get the out, but that one, as you said, normal position, it's probably an out and they're back in the dugout, but because their position is that time, Sheets is standing at the first base bag.
That ball's ripped to left, coming on Davis, and he makes the catch. 2 more runs tacked on for Wake Forest on the second home run in as many innings for Fairchild. This one the other way. 2 runs on 3 hits, and the lead is 6, 12-6 Deeks over the Mountaineers.
Check, 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 check. Check, check, you got me?
That's a shot. Did you see that of him chewing the gum after he hit
No, I
that,
didn't
just going
notice
down
it.
to first base line? Like, oh, no big deal.
Just another day.
Ready?
Another 2 home run, 6 RBI day.
Yeah, that's just what I do.
New pitcher for Wake Forest, right-hander number 8, Colin Palouse. Palouse, the new pitcher for Wake Forest. Final line on Sellers, 4 innings, 6 runs, all are in 7 hits.
Hey, Coach. It's Doug and John up in the press box. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
I'm good, thank you. We're good. We're having a good time, enjoying the ball game.
7 hits.
We probably have another minute or so till we come out of break to you.
Okay.
Back in Winston-Salem, where Wake Forest has its lead back up to 6, 12-6 over West Virginia, thanks to the long balls by Stuart Fairchild. We're now joined by his head coach, Tom Walter, and we are amazed at the night he's having. Consecutive innings, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. You've been seeing this for 3 years now, right, Coach?
Well, yes, sir. Stewie's a special player, obviously, and, you know, the guy we want up in big situations, and that last 2-run home run was a huge one. We needed to grab some momentum back. They had the big pickoff play and the 3-run inning after our big inning, and they had grabbed some momentum, and hopefully Colin Palouse can settle this game down a little bit.
That's what we were talking about up here, Coach. It seems like every time you guys jump out there, they're able to get a couple runs on. So what do you tell your staff going out there now to try to settle these guys down?
Well, we've got to pitch ahead, you know, and their big innings would started with walks and getting behind hitters. So obviously we just need to execute pitches. They're a very talented offensive club, and if you make mistakes, they don't miss.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Thanks, guys.
And so he has made a pitching change that he just alluded to there. Donnie Sellers, the starter, is out after 4 innings. He allowed 6 runs on 7 hits. Colin Palouse Number 8 in black takes the mound for the first time, and Palouse will work to Kyle Davis to begin the bottom half of the 5th inning. Palouse, 6'3", 230-pound freshman from Middletown, Delaware, out of Middletown High School, getting an opportunity and a big chance to try and help the Demon Deacons eliminate the Mountaineers.
And Palouse is one of those guys that had Tommy John surgery a couple years ago, really now starting to come into his zone. You can see 29 strikeouts, 34 innings, just 11 base on balls, but good command of the fastball, and he's got a good changeup if he's going to have success. The change is his out pitch.
Davis 0 for 1 at the plate. He walked his first time, and he takes a strike. It's 2-2. Line foul out of play. We just heard over the internal loudspeaker here. If I heard it correctly, Wake Forest is the first team since 2010 with 100 home runs as a team. In 2010, it sounds like Auburn had 131, so a long ways to go to get there. Strikeout against Kyle Davis, 1 man away here in the 5th. So that's their 4th home run of the weekend through the conference tournament. Wake Forest had 96.
Different time back in 2010.
Yeah.
Balls were flying out all over the place.
That was just before they changed the bats. Went to the BB Core bats, and we saw a dramatic drop-off in power immediately that has now been mitigated in many ways by the lower seamed baseballs. Zardniski retired, 6-3.
We've talked about these numbers throughout the tournament, home run wise. Back in 2014, when they made those changes to the bats, 4 days of the tournament, not just through Sunday, but 4 days, a total of 74 home runs. It's already been doubled. We're past that at 149, and maybe it's even hasn't been updated here. So we're probably over 150 home runs in 2017. Compare that to 74 total back in 14.
The batter is Jimmy Galuski. Jimmy Palouse with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball that misses low and away, goes to the rosin bag. This is the first humid ball game we've had in the regional. You know, for the most part, last 2 days, mid-80s, comfortable. This afternoon, about the same. Little different feel. Temperatures at game time, 70 degrees. Feels like it's probably dropped a little from there. And now Colin Palouse is 1 strike away from the first 1-2-3 inning of the ball game. Couple of punch outs for the young man from Middletown, Delaware. Through 5, Wake Forest 12, West Virginia 6. It's the NCAA baseball tournament presented by Capital One. Some out-of-town scores being read over the public address system here at the couch. Some please the fans, some not so much. Again, do you root for the ACC teams in this building, or do you root against them?
Well, it sounds like maybe some are rooting against here.
Johnny Aiello leads off the 6th inning with a line drive base hit to left, his 3rd single of the night. I think perhaps the rule goes, and I'm just guessing here, you root for the out-of-state ACC foes, and you root against the in-state ACC foes.
That's
so
true.
Carolina and NC State and Duke and just a guess.
They do that in the SEC though, or are they that group that says no, we're all for one? The big SEC.
I
right?
can't see Ole Miss rooting for Mississippi State. I can't see some of those.
Maybe they'll talk that way, right?
Bruce Steele stands in the batter's box. He's got a hit in 2 official at bats, also a walk. He doubled and scored a run in the second. Good cut. Got himself a 1-1 count facing Shane Ennis. There's he coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern time. That game we were talking about, Yale at 2-1 will play Oregon State 2-0, and much like this game, the regional seed with one more win can eliminate the underdog, but Yale has a chance. They got to beat the Beavers twice, once tonight, once tomorrow, but hey, they're still in it. They're not flying back across the country yet.
So you say there's a chance.
Strike at the knees. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Houston Regional is having a weather delay again. That's been a crazy regional right from the start. The host Cougars are playing Iowa, where they're supposed to be, but they are having weather issues. Line smash, diving stop. Galuski gets the out at second. Another brilliant defensive play by the shortstop from the state of West Virginia.
He's showing off now. What a play by Galuski again. How many times have we said that? Watch this all-out effort. That ball was behind him. Able to get up. Nice throw. Gray getting there in time. Boy, that ball was hit hard. Galuski reached behind him and was able to steal a hit away.
And now Coach Mazie makes the long, slow walk out to the mound. You know, of those scores they were just sharing over the public address system, I think the one that got the biggest cheer was because in the bottom of the 5th inning in Chapel Hill, Davidson 2, North Carolina 1. How about
That'll
that?
get a big cheer.
How about that? Davidson is 4 innings away from knocking out the big brothers from Chapel Hill.
Could they be the Cinderella this year?
Absolutely.
Last year it was the state of South Carolina. Coastal Carolina last year out of South Carolina. Could it be Davidson this year?
Boy, do they have, I mean, if they can get themselves to the Supers, that's a huge victory. Could they make it all the way to Omaha? Who knows? But they are on the verge of sweeping their way through the regional round. Still a long way to go, but my goodness. North Carolina, the number 2 national seed. Pitching change for West Virginia. Out goes Shane Ennis. And there is a look at the new pitcher. Ryan McDonald.
You see his numbers there, 20 innings, 13 Ks, 12 base on balls. And we've seen, this is our second guy we've seen out here today, listed at 6'7". The ball will sneak up on you quick. He's going to be about 88 to 90 miles an hour, McDonald. 13 appearances on the year, 6.64 earned run average. Right now, every guy that comes out of that bullpen, Randy Mazie's just asking them, just give us your best. Do what you can to try to hold this Wake Forest offense down and give our offense, we're only down by 6. And I keep going back to say, he said, if you're in a game, if you're down 8-1, down 6, 7, 8 runs, you feel like you're in a game in this ballpark. And for the Mountaineers, they're only down 6 now. So that man right there feels like his team has a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, I am.
Well, I'd like to know the sales pitch that he gave to young Mr. McDonald to say, leave Las Vegas where you grew up and come to Morgantown. He's got him out there in a big spot right here, facing Keegan Marinpo. Right fielder 0 for 3. He's about the only Demon Deacon without a base hit. 16 hits and counting for Wake Forest. 2-0. Shane Ennis went 2 1/3 innings. Has allowed 4 runs so far. Of course, Steele at first base, his responsibility. Four-pitch walk. That'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Logan Harvey.
Coming to Wake Forest, the catcher, number 15, Logan Harvey.
I immediately looked down to the first base bullpen down there to see if there's any more action. I'm assuming Randy Mazey's not going to take that for too long. Ryan McDonald asked to come in and throw strikes, and you can't afford to put anybody on. Free passes here are going to hurt you against this team. They'll make you pay for it, so I'm sure McDonald's on a short leash, just like everybody else.
Called strike to Harvey. Another potentially eye-opening result in Louisville right now. Xavier playing for its tournament life. Tied with Louisville 3-3 as they play the 6th inning. Cardinals have only 3 hits to go along with those 3 runs. The Louisville win and they'll advance onto the Supers. The Musketeers trying to force a game 7 of that regional tomorrow. And if you like those 2 scores, John, I got another one for you. Bethune-Cookman 3, Florida 2, top of the 7th in Gainesville. Again, the Gators 2-0, Bethune-Cookman 2-1, so it's not to eliminate the Gators, but it's to force a 7th game on Monday.
I like it. Keep feeding info.
Absolutely.
You're a wealth of it.
I like this stuff. Texas Tech also losing at home. Logan Harvey. Zarbniski able to make the catch. Both runners tag. Back to first goes Marinpo, but Steele moves to third on the deep fly off the bat of Harvey. Two men away, and that'll bring up the top of the order Jonathan Pryor. Yeah, Sam Houston State, which is one of those teams that nationally maybe people don't recognize. They got a lot of talent. Another one of those teams in Texas.
That's right.
Sam Houston State 5, Texas Tech 2 as they play the bottom of the 5th. Same scenario. The Raiders 2-0. Trying to take care of business tonight, but Sam Houston State trying to force a deciding game tomorrow. Here it's 12-6 Wake Forest, the top 2 seeds as expected to decide this regional. Wake's big inning was the 4th. They scored 6, but they have done a lot of other damage. Let's hope that didn't do any damage. Shot into the Wake Forest dugout.
That's why you said this end of dugout. That's all you know.
Somebody always knows where to sit, right? Like that end of the dugout's any better. That ball was hit so hard.
Now that I said that, ball's probably come flying down here.
See it? There you go.
Yeah, normally choppers
We got microphones everywhere, picking it all up.
Yep.
I wore one
That's
off
why
the
you
wall
sit
one
down here, and then he started thinking, uh-oh, I better not have said that.
Great contact. Yeah, that was when rain was thrown.
3 balls and a strike. Wish we could ID who that is talking down there.
Even from the farmhouse, you just can't do it.
Put the big whammy on himself, right? He's going to be ducking.
Ball 4. And once again, bases are loaded.
Number 6, Jake Mueller.
Don't look now for West Virginia. You've got Mueller up here now. That's 4 for 4 on the day, and you've got a guy on deck. He's got a lot of RBIs. It's not a situation you want to be in if you're West Virginia on the mound. You go after a guy that's 4 for 4 or a guy that's just hitting the ball all out of the park.
I would choose neither.
Yeah, good fastball there, 90 miles an hour. Going to need to continue to live right there on that outside part of the plate if he can. That's a great location.
Steele at third, Marin Poe at second, Pryor at first, swing and a miss. And so for the first time since coming out of the WVU bullpen, Ryan McDonald is working from ahead in the count, 0-2. Mueller, high chopper. And West Virginia escapes the jam unscathed. No runs, 1 hit, 3 left aboard in the middle of the 6th. 12-6, Wake over WVU. Nick DePonzio, a defensive switch for Wake Forest, inserted out in right field as the Demon Deacons enjoy a 12-6 lead. They're just a few innings away from advancing onto the Super Regional round, up 12-6 over West Virginia. DePonzio, a replacement for Keegan Marin-Poe out in right field, as Colin Palouse goes about his business for his 2nd inning of work. So impressive, John, in the 5th. Came in and retired the Mountaineers in order for the first time tonight.
That's what you want out of your reliever. Go out there, somebody that's going to attack the hitters, get ahead in the count.
Seeing the ball great, kiddo.
Palouse gets the call in the inside corner, 84 miles an hour on that pitch, and the count evens 2-2. Down and in. Nice job by Brophy to lay off. He's had a good eye tonight. He's been to the plate twice, walked twice, and came around to score both times. Not this time, though. 92 miles an hour as he couldn't catch up, and there's one away. For more coverage of the Division I baseball regionals and interactive brackets as well, simply go to ncaa.com. Kyle Gray takes a ball.
Palouse reaching back a little bit more on that fastball this inning. Settling in out there on the mound.
Come on, Colin.
So your outfield defense playing straight away now. Pryor in left, Fairchild in right, in center, and DePonzio in right. Around the infield still Aiello at third, Steele at short, Mueller at second, Sheets playing first. Around Colin Palouse. Hit towards right center. Here comes Fairchild. And he makes the catch for out number 2.
That ball looked like it was kind of fisted out there to right center field. When it was originally hit, I thought it was off the bat pretty well, but Fairchild had to come in to make the play there. Easy play for the center fielder.
Yeah, not much carry to it. We've become accustomed over the last 3 days, anything hit in the air to the outfield, you think, well, the outfielder's going to be going back, not coming in.
And if you listen to the fans around this ballpark, soon as contact's made, if it's not a ground ball, you know, you can hear oohing and ahhing like it's going to get out of here, even if it's not close.
Well, that one struck well, but right at Fairchild. Gonzalez retired. That's 6 in a row put down by Palouse. Score remains 12-6, Demon Deacons. The hitting hero tonight so far for Wake Forest, not surprisingly, Stuart Fairchild.
Boy, you get fastball in, you turn on it, you get one outside, and you can deliver it the opposite way. Just a pure hitter with great balance and approach at the plate.
What does he have in store in his 5th at bat? 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. The 2 home runs matches a career high. He's one off his career high in RBIs, which came against Coastal Carolina earlier this season. With former Dodgers minor leaguer John Gregory, I'm Doug Sherman. He hit that one well, but well foul.
Still think he's not seeing as well tonight?
I think he's seeing just fine. And he might tell you completely differently, but my sense through his first 2 at bats when he struck out and then flied out, and then early in that 4th inning at bat, he was swinging and missing more than I would have thought.
I agree with you.
Especially
just giving you a hard time.
No, and that's good too. But you know, in comparison to his teammates, they weren't having nearly as much trouble making contact against B.J. Myers. But like you said, he figured it out and then some. That grand slam came off of the starter Myers, and it knocked him out of the ball game. Then he got the reliever Shane Ennis next time around in the 5th.
Just up there chewing gum, relaxed. His at bats, it's almost like it's no stress, just real relaxed at the plate.
And those quick hands through the zone, drives it again. This one stays in the ballpark, run down by Zarbniski. The folks here in Winston-Salem appreciate the job he has done tonight.
Zarbniski out there on the elevation. He was on his horse quickly there. A little bit of a hill out there, and he was able to handle it easily.
One center fielder taking away extra bases from another. Here's last night's hero, Gavin Sheets. He's done a lot of damage again this evening. 2 for 3, a walk, a couple of runs scored. First time he's seen the young right-hander Ryan McDonald.
Oh my God.
Wake Forest looking for its 42nd win of the year. They're 41-18 right now. Finished 2nd in the ACC's Atlantic Division behind Louisville. And unlike Louisville right now, Wake Forest not struggling in its bid to win its regional. Ball 4, take your base. A 1-out walk will bring up Ben Brazil. He's got a home run tonight. 3 RBIs. The only starter in the ball game tonight for Wake Forest not to have a base hit is now out of the game. That was Keegan Marinpo. He was replaced this last half inning by Nick DePonzio, who should get a chance, if not here in the 7th, then certainly in the 8th. In addition to the single and the home run for Brazil, he was robbed of a base hit in the 3rd inning on a diving play by first baseman Jackson Kramer. He very nearly could have a 3-hit night going.
He's coming back.
McDonald's pitch grounded foul. And the count evens up 2-2.
Really none of, you look up and down this lineup, there's not a lot of guys, well, really nobody gets cheated at the plate. All their swings, patient. Nobody seems to get fooled a lot. Every once in a while they will, but really good balance, good approach. When they make contact, they typically barrel it up pretty good.
Well, this Wake Forest program has produced a lot of talent under head coach Tom Walter. In his 8 years, he has had 15 players taken in the Major League draft, and that number is going to jump considerably next week. Now, the only current big leaguer who is from Wake Forest is Mac Williamson, the outfielder for the San Francisco Giants. But Will Craig certainly is as good a prospect as there is in the minor leagues. There's a Wake Forest team that had to replace him. He was the National Player of the Year last season. He was taken 22nd overall last year by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Third baseman trying to work his way up through their system. And
I imagine, excuse me, there'll be a lot more guys getting there in a hurry when you look at this group here.
Yeah. Strike 3 called. Brazil thought he had been walked. Instead, he's walking back to the dugout. And Johnny Aiello, another one of those 3-hit night guys. 3 singles and an RBI. The average has gone up 7 points to 330. Aiello won't be draft eligible until next year, but he's another one the pro scouts are very impressed with and will likely get his opportunity at pro ball next year.
They may have to start expanding the locker room a little bit. You mentioned before, they've got lockers for guys that sign pro contracts that come back here and work out. A lot of colleges are doing that. Some even have separate locker rooms, but Tom Walter decided he'd like to have them in there in the same room with their guys.
Why not?
Why? They're all trying to get to the same place.
Yep.
Can only help.
Aiello lifts a fly ball to center. Zarbniski puts it away. And a quiet top of the 7th for the Demon Deacons. But quiet's not so bad when you're leading by 6. 7th inning stretch time. 12-6 Wake. The heart of this potent West Virginia offense due up here in the bottom of the 7th inning, led by the 3-hole hitter Darius Hill. He looks at a strike to get things underway. Well, after we had a lot of fireworks through 5 innings, the last couple of innings, John, things have settled down. The pitchers, the relievers have quieted these bats, and very quickly Darius Hill retired on a ground out.
West Virginia, the third baseman.
Well, Colin Palouse has come in. Mountaineers haven't been able to figure him out yet. You're absolutely right there. And for the Mountaineers, they have got to get some runs on the board. They was pecking away here and there. They did it this afternoon. No give up in this team. Just down 6. I mean, it seems like it's a lot more, but they keep fighting back, getting a couple runs here and there. Not able to answer in the 5th and 6th.
Austin lifts the fly to center. Fairchild drifting under it. Very quickly, 2 men out. Palouse has been terrific and efficient. As a matter of fact, he has retired all 8 batters to come up against him.
29 pitches, 21 strikes. The key for him is getting ahead of these hitters. He's been doing that with every guy at the plate.
And I really feel like those 2 runs in the top of the 5th inning scored by Wake may have taken the air out of West Virginia's sails, because they just kept answering back and answering back and answering back, and goes back to a 6-run lead as opposed to a 4-run lead. And then Palouse comes in and pitches as well as he has and gets another quick out. Well, maybe not. There we go. The shortstop finally calls. Well, the coach, Randy Mazey, during that last half inning was talking up his team, and I would say it worked. They go out and have as efficient a half inning as you're going to see, and the Mountaineers couldn't get the bats going there. They're facing the efficiency of Wake Forest. Back in Winston-Salem, 12-6 Wake Forest in a game that has really settled down. Through 5 innings, there were 18 runs scored. Last 2 innings, nothing. The relief pitchers have done a much better job. This is Ryan McDonald for West Virginia, pitching the top half of the 8th inning. McDonald came on in the 6th, allowed a couple of walks, but then got out of trouble with the bases loaded. Last inning in the 7th, he gave up a walk, but that was it. Now he's got himself a 1-1 count to Bruce Steele. Nick DePonzio waits on deck to be followed by Logan Harvey.
He'd like to have that quick 1, 2, 3 inning to get his team back in that dugout, see if they can get those bats woken up one more time. They are a team that hits in bunches.
West Virginia has more action in its bullpen. Cody Wood, a redshirt freshman right-hander from Denver, is getting loose. Not sure how much McDonald has in his tank. The 6'7" freshman out of West Ashley High School in Las Vegas has done a commendable job so far against this potent Wake Forest lineup. Steele steps out of the way of an 88-mile-an-hour fastball, and the count goes full 3-2.
88 miles an hour, but when you're 6'7" out there on the mound, extension gets you a little bit closer to the plate, and that ball will sneak up on you a little faster.
Well, I always find fascinating when they compare the speed, the velocity of a softball pitch, foul ball, that'll carry out of play, to the speed of a baseball pitch, and with the difference between the mound or the circle in softball and home plate being much closer, you don't need as much velocity for it to be comparable in terms of the hitter's reaction time.
Sure, and that's exactly what you get when McDonald is striding out there at 6'7". Get that release and long arm a little bit closer to the plate.
And yeah, it's great that Aroldis Chapman throws over 100 miles an hour, but he's also 6'5", 6'6", and releases much closer to the plate. Randy Johnson for years, triple digits, but at 6'10", 6'11", he was really a lot closer to the plate. The payoff pitch, lost him. It's a leadoff walk worked by Bruce Steele. He's been on base 4 times tonight.
Well, McDonald's been able to get around a few of these walks, as you said before, and they haven't come back to hurt them. But with no outs and a leadoff guy on here, that's when it becomes dangerous.
Number 4, Cody Wood, back up and throwing for West Virginia in the bullpen.
And so DePonzio with his first at-bat
Come on, baby, right now, baby.
of this NCAA Regional, a freshman from Macon, Georgia, out of Tatnall Square Academy. Throws right, bats left, 6 foot, 185 pounds. He's got a 195 average this year. I'm sure he wouldn't mind getting a knock here, maybe a couple more before the season's out and get up over that Mendoza line.
Doesn't take much when don't have a lot of at bats.
That's right.
Can make a big difference in a hurry.
Well, he's got himself a 2-1 count. You see the pitch count for Ryan McDonald up to 47. That's why the bullpen remains active. Two balls, 2 strikes.
You know you have to pump in strikes there. When you look over in the dugout, you see your head coach standing at the top step. You know this may be your last guy if you don't somehow find a way to get him out.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Bouncing ball right side, cut off by Gray, and he gets DePonzio by a step, moving up to second base, Bruce Steele.
Not an easy play for Gray. Had to go a long way to get that closer to the first base bag and get his body twisted around to get the throw to first base. And now we're going to get a visit to the mound. And I knew it was getting close. When you see that skipper standing at the top step there, you know your time's coming.
A marvelous job by the
certainly was
freshman right-hander. 50 pitches out of the bullpen.
New pitcher for West Virginia, right-hander number 4, Cody Wood.
And to do it under these circumstances, in this pressure-packed situation with your team's season on the line against Wake Forest, a consensus top 15 national team, that is something he can build on going forward.
No question about that. And you like the sign. He's coming off the field. The rest of his team met him outside the dugout and let him know they were thankful for the effort that he gave tonight.
And so he gives way to Cody Wood, the right-hander from Denver, redshirt freshman. And he'll take his 8 warm-up tosses before going to work on Logan Harvey. Well, again, if West Virginia does not rally from 6 down, its season will come to an end, but we've seen them come back time and again here this weekend.
Including this afternoon as Maryland scored 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fifth. Finally, West Virginia was able to get one on, 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 4 big ones in the 8th to take the lead, and added 1 in the 9th and got that victory to be able to come out here this evening.
Well, John, I know you and I, along with everybody on our crew, loves the bases loaded ESPN networks covering everything all the way to the road to Omaha. And during our weather delay tonight, we sat back, fired up the iPad, and we were checking everything out. ESPN2, ESPNU, SEC Network, ESPN3, all in on the coverage. Everything those on ESPN3. All games available on the ESPN app, including this one.
Think she's watching?
No. She's texting the girl 3 down from her.
That's right. You like this picture? I just took it. It's me.
We used to take cutaways like 10 years ago of females sitting in the stands and they'd be talking to each other. Now, not so much.
No.
Just texting each other.
Here's the number on big redshirt freshman Cody Wood, 6'3", 195 pounds. And again, his chore now with a runner on second base here, prevent anybody from coming in, keep this thing close enough to give West Virginia a few more chances.
His first assignment is Logan Harvey, the catcher, who has a pair of singles, couple of runs scored in RBI, and after all of that, Ivan Gonzalez and Cody Wood realized we got to get together about the signs.
Yes, runner on second base. Changes things a bit.
The runner at second is Bruce Steele. He walked and moved up on the ground out by DePonzio. Strike one to Harvey. He lays off the 74-mile-an-hour pitch that was down and away, 1-1. Harvey's a sophomore from Henrico, Virginia, out of Douglas Freeman High School. He's got himself a 2-1 count. Harvey's been a productive member of this team. Easy to be an afterthought with some of the gaudy numbers put up by his teammates, but for this sophomore catcher, a solid .265 batting average. Two balls, two strikes. Harvey had a big game back in mid-March at Charlotte, non-league midweek game. 4 hits, 5 RBIs. And this for a guy who lost most of last season and all of last summer to a stress fracture in his elbow. And he's come back strong here this spring. And he stays alive.
Doesn't necessarily have the power that some of the other guys do in this lineup.
That ball hit the building at the top of the grandstand, bounced back through the concourse, took about 4 hops down through the empty bleachers there, and made its way back onto the field. Nobody could get it. They're all tired. So once again, the 2-2 pitch from Wood popped up on the infield. It'll be Kyle Gray for the second out.
Coming for Wake Forest, the left fielder, number 11, Jonathan Pryor.
Jonathan Pryor has had 5 plate appearances, but only 1 at bat. 3 walks and a sacrifice bunt. He grounded out back in the first inning to begin the ball game. And other than that, he has been involved in the offense that's put 12 runs rather, and 16 hits on the board.
Anytime you can have 3 walks in a night, reach base the way you're having, that's a productive night, regardless if you're hitting knocks to get on or home runs, you're contributing.
Strike one. Pryor's had an outstanding season, leading things off for this Wake Forest offense. Made 3rd team All-ACC. He takes a strike, and as a leadoff hitter, that is one of your responsibilities, setting the table, and he's done it. Like you said, doesn't matter how you get on base when you're that leadoff guy.
Come on, Pryor!
Steele with a good lead off of second with 2 men out. Strike 3 called. Cody Wood sets down the only 2 men he faces. And the zeros continue to go up on the board. Again, that's not a bad thing if you're Wake Forest. For West Virginia, they're running out of time as we head to the bottom of the 8th. They're down 12-6. It's the NCAA Baseball Championships brought to you by Capital One. Here at the home of the Demon Deacons, even though the Demon Deacons are the road team tonight, they have looked very much at home, putting 12 runs on the board, powered by 16 hits, and led by their center fielder, Stuart Fairchild, who comes in and can't make the play on the little looper to begin the bottom of the 8th. Kyle Davis gets on base, and the Mountaineers ready to start chipping away again, down 6.
And here we go with the Mountaineers, right? A big 8th inning earlier today.
That's right.
4 runs.
That's right. It was the 8th inning when the magic occurred for them this afternoon.
Number 12, TJ Lake, pinch hitting for West Virginia.
Braden Zarbniski is being pinch hit for by TJ Lake. And he looks at a strike. Lake with a .222 batting average and limited at bats. No homers, 5 RBIs. Young man from Toledo. You ever been to Toledo?
Sure, been there many times.
Have you?
Yes.
Any thoughts?
Toledo's a good place.
Absolutely.
Sees plenty of football games there.
Oh, right, right.
Swim meets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ever been to a Mud Hens game?
No.
I've been to a bunch. They're fun. They're not just
the Rockets.
Jamie Farr's. Well, the college team, sure. That ball ripped fair down the third baseline. Lake's got himself a base hit, and maybe more. Davis cruises into third base. It's a stand-up double for TJ Lake.
That's the way you come off the bench. Swinging the bat, ready to go, and TJ Lake drills it the opposite way. No chance for Aiello to get a glove on this one. This was hit hard. And here come the Mountaineers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the 8th inning. This is their time to do business.
Maybe that pep talk that Randy Mazey gave his team starting to come through.
In case you're wondering, this has not been a 5-hour game. Of course, it was scheduled to begin at 5 o'clock Eastern time, but we had a 2-hour weather delay at the start, and so didn't get underway until shortly after 7 o'clock. So we're coming up on almost 3 hours in what's been an entertaining slugfest. Wake Forest with 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 6 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth. West Virginia's done a good job of answering back time and again. Do they have one more push in them? Palouse induces the pop-up. 1 away. Well, until the single to lead off the inning by Kyle Davis, Palouse had not allowed anything. He retired the first 9 batters he faced out of the bullpen, but then second time around the order, couple of good swings. Although Lake, the pinch hitter, was seeing him for the first time, he ripped the double.
West Virginia, number 45, Andrew Seitel.
Part of the reasons why we always say starting pitcher needs to have at least 3 and hopefully 4 good pitches that he can throw to get outs on. A guy out of the pen typically can get by maybe with 1 or 2, hopefully 2, but you better have an exceptional fastball if he doesn't have the 2. But he's been on tonight all around the strike zone, and I think that's what's most important. When you have a 6-run lead or more, you want that guy throwing strikes.
There's our first look at Andrew Seitel, the pinch hitter. First time we've had him into this regional, sophomore from Hillsborough, New Jersey. He's got a home run this year in limited playing time. A long ball here would cut the lead in half. He pinch hits for Kevin Brophy, whose night is finished after drawing a couple of walks, striking out, scored a couple of times. Nice Nice backhand by the catcher, Logan Harvey, and he's going to go out to the mound.
Randy Mazie giving guys an opportunity to come off the bench here late in the ball game, and you never know. Guys up excited to be at the plate there could turn some things around, and who knows, you're right back in it.
Well, now that Colin Palouse isn't cruising as he was the last 3 innings, his head coach Tom Walter's not messing around. He's got their outstanding closer Griffin Roberts loosening in the bullpen. You can tell the folks here in Winston-Salem didn't like that call. 3 balls and a strike. Andrew Zeitel awaits the 3-1 pitch. Ball 4, bases full of Mountaineers. And here comes Matt Hobbs, the Wake Forest pitching coach. He makes the pitching changes, and I'm guessing he's got the hook with him. What do you think, John?
More than likely. He's making that nice slow walk, making sure his guy tapping him. Yes. Didn't take long. As a pitcher, you know when you get that tap, you know you're done.
Well, Colin Palouse's job has been well done. 3 perfect innings, runs into some trouble here in the 8th, and now he needs a little help from the closer, Griffin Roberts, who takes the baseball and takes over. A standing ovation for Palouse, who settled down this West Virginia offense, perhaps just long enough. We'll step away while Griffin Roberts takes his warm-up tosses. Can the sophomore from Midlothian, Virginia deliver Wake Forest to the Super Regionals? We shall see. Griffin Roberts is on a pace to set an all-time Wake Forest single-season record for strikeouts per 9 innings. They could use some of that swing and miss type stuff here right now.
Yeah, 71 strikeouts, 48.2 innings this year, and that's because he's got a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Good sink to it, but throws a good hard breaking ball. It's got a lot of depth to it. 2 pitches that he can get guys out, whether it's that 95-mile-an-hour fastball or that breaking ball, he can set them down with it. So we'll see if he can do his job here and put these Mountaineers away that still have a little life over in that first base dugout.
Well, there you see what he did in the last matchup. Pitched 2 innings, struck out 4, closed out the deal in their first victory over West Virginia. Now he's facing the top of the Mountaineers order, Kyle Gray, with the bases loaded and 1 man out. Gray takes a strike. Gray has a home run tonight, a 2-run shot back in the 2nd. He is 1 for 4. If he can just square up one of those 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, the power will be provided by the arm of Griffin Roberts. From the stretch, 93 on the gun. Misses the zone. It's 1-1.
You could tell these Wake Forest fans want to get this thing over with. They know how quickly things can turn around here, and they can feel a Super Regional, but they're still on the edge of their seats right now.
Davis, the runner at 3rd, led off with a single. TJ Lake, the pinch hitter, doubled, and then another pinch hitter, Andrew Zeitel, walked. He's at 1st. Two balls and a strike. Mullins this time catches the corner, gets the call. It's 2-2.
There's the breaking ball. Outside corner there. Let's see if he goes back to fastball here. He's given him 2 off-speed pitches in a row. Look to him to go back fastball.
Better than 13 strikeouts per 9 innings this year. That one didn't miss by much.
And a 3rd off-speed pitch in a row. Missed high.
Got the corner that time, strike 3 call.
No argument from Kyle Gray as he turns and walks back to the dugout, head down. And a 4th breaking ball in a row, and Kyle Gray maybe got fooled on that thinking fastball, because I certainly, if I'm at the plate, I'm thinking fastball too, and he gets the outside corner for strike 3.
Big second out here as Ivan Gonzalez stands at the plate. He's got a couple of hits, scored a couple of runs, rips this one down the left field line. That's trouble. It's going to go all the way to the wall. 2 runs are in. They hold up Zeitel at 3rd. And here comes some more 8th inning magic for the Mountaineers. It's 12-8.
Well, they keep coming. Their heart, right? And that's what they say on the t-shirt, HDMH. Heart, height doesn't measure heart.
That's exactly the case. Ivan Gonzalez has t-shirts with his family members. Got his nickname Pudge on it, and then those letters you say, HDMH, height doesn't measure heart. And the man who stands 5'9" stands at second base after delivering the 2-run double. This is Darius Hill taking his turn. Davis and Lake scored on the double. Zeitel around to 3rd. Those 2 runs go to the record of Colin Palouse. There's a strike called. Again, that backdoor breaking ball catching the outside corner.
Let's go, baby!
Catches the corner again. Are you surprised how often Roberts is going to that pitch?
Yeah, when you have that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, it is a little bit surprising.
Now the 1-2 pitch. Did he go? They appeal down to 3rd, and the umpire, Darren Hyman, says no.
And once again, he goes to the breaking ball.
6, Florida 2. Force the decisive game 7.
Bethune-Cookman has beaten Florida. That means they will play a deciding game tomorrow. Winner of that region gets the winner of this region. Strike 3 call. Once again going backdoor with the breaking ball, nibbling at that outside corner, and Griffin Roberts bends but does not break. West Virginia gets 2 back, but they strand 2, and we head to the 9th. Wake Forest holding on to a 12-8 lead. Well, the Mountaineers have not given up hope. They cut a 6-run deficit back to 4 with 1 inning to play. The Mountaineers need to come all the way back to force a 7th game tomorrow night. Wake Forest, on the other hand, just 3 outs away from punching its ticket to the Super Regional round, where If chalk holds,
Yep.
they'd be going to Gainesville to play the number 3 national seed Florida Gators. However, not so fast, my friends. Florida has just lost to Bethune-Cookman 6-2, and so they will play again tomorrow, 4 o'clock, a winner-take-all game. So if Bethune-Cookman can do the unthinkable and beat Florida again tomorrow, one of these two teams would be hosting the Super Regionals, either Wake Forest or West Virginia. Bethune would come here or go to Morgantown, depending on the outcome of this one.
And that's why it's important to host.
Yes.
You just never know. Then you get the Super and you're one step away. And think about the excitement that there would be in this place the way we had it the other night if that same thing comes to pass.
Well, the weather and the fact that it's Sunday night certainly held down tonight's crowd, but each of the last 2 nights when Wake Forest played, they had consecutive record crowds for this building. Mueller lays down the bunt. Wood throws to first in time for the out. Looked like Jackson Kramer got the out twice, had his foot on the bag when he was holding it, and then inadvertently tagged him on the way by.
Yeah.
It only counts as 1 out, though.
Only counts as 1 out. Unfortunately for Kramer, he didn't get his hand jammed that time, too. That's why a lot of first basemen, that throw will have you into the runner there. Good. Fortunately for him, nothing happened.
Cody Wood back up on the rubber. He did a nice job coming out of the 8th inning to get the last 2 outs. But now he faces the hitting hero of the ballgame, Stuart Fairchild. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. His last time up, he hit a screaming line drive out to center field that was tracked down by then center fielder Braden Zarbniski. Fairchild 2 for 5. Average stands at 360. Even though Fairchild just swung and missed, I'm not about to say again he's having trouble picking up the pitch. Or maybe he wishes I would again. He might hit another one 380 feet. The 0-2, able to hold up. You're right, he just has a calm presence about him no matter what he's doing. Not a big physically imposing guy, listed at 6 feet, but he's well put together and has a lot of power. Swing and a miss. 2 men down here in the top of the 9th inning.
Now batting for Wake Forest, the first baseman,
Cody Wood doing what he needs to do.
Well, here last night, they walked Fairchild to get to Gavin Sheets, who played the hero. Late at night, in front of a record crowd, went for a single. It's a walk-off winner, and that's why Wake Forest is in the driver's seat and in such a good position here tonight, needing only 1 victory. And Sheets, not surprisingly, has been in the middle of it here again tonight. Couple of walks, couple of singles. He scored 2 times. Batting .323. And he looks at a strike from Cody Wood. Hey, how about that score? Yale has a run on the board against Oregon State in the top of the 1st. Go Bulldogs. A ball and a strike.
You like the underdogs, don't you?
Yeah, as long as they're not playing against Syracuse. There's a high drive. It'll stay in the park, though. Kyle Davis on the warning track puts it away. So it's come down to this. The 2017 Winston-Salem Regional is in the hands of Wake Forest if it can get the final 3 outs, but the Mountaineers have 3 shots here to score 4 times. Can they do it? They've got the heart of the lineup coming up next. Well, the Demon Deacons are 3 outs away from going on to the Super Regional round if they can hold off West Virginia here. Meanwhile, over in Chapel Hill, elsewhere in the state of North Carolina, how about Davidson still leading North Carolina? It's 2-1 as they play the bottom of the 9th in the regional final. Davidson could sweep UNC out of the tournament. First pitch from Griffin Roberts, the Wake Forest closer, a called strike.
Davidson's first trip
to Super Regionals?
To regionals.
To regionals. Crazy. Cole Austin, the cleanup hitter. He awaits the 1-1 pitch. The Deeks defensively look for him to pull in spite of the heat. 96 miles an hour on the fastball from Roberts. You remember who you faced who had the fastest fastball during your playing days, John?
Yeah, Mike Moore.
Ooh.
Yeah. I heard it. I don't remember
Whizzing
seeing
by.
it. I don't remember seeing it.
2 balls and 2 strikes. That game at Chapel Hill has gone final as Austin sends a fly ball into deep center field, caught for the first out. They are celebrating on one of the prettiest campuses in the country at Davidson. Wow. 2-1 the final. The Wildcats beat the Tar Heels, beat them twice in 3 days to send the number 2 national seed home. So now we've got 2 tickets punched onto the Super Regionals. About to have a third if Wake can close it down. Strike called against Jackson Kramer. For Jackson Kramer, one of the 2 seniors on the West Virginia roster, this likely his final plate appearance as a college ball player. Trying to keep it alive. He's 0 for 4 tonight. That fastball, or rather breaking ball, ate him up. And the count is 1-2. A 6-run 4th inning, the difference right now for Wake Forest. Count evens 2-2.
These fans want it now. Not one more pitch.
Swing and a miss, but the ball comes right back to Harvey, who completes the play at first. And the crowd comes to its feet. Capacity crowds each of the last 2 nights. The weather delay held the crowd down tonight, but the folks who are here are fired up for their Demon Deacons. Only Kyle Davis standing in their way. Ball 1. 95 on the radar gun. One ball, 1 strike. Roberts is the 3rd Wake pitcher tonight. Donnie Sellers went 4. Colin Palouse 3 1/3. He's in line for the win. And trying to nail down this victory, Griffin Roberts. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Wake Forest onto the Super Regionals in convincing fashion. There's the dog pile right on the mound. Wake Forest picks up an impressive victory. Final score 12-8.
In impressive fashion, too. 16 hits. They beat the ball all over the ballpark tonight against a staff from West Virginia that gave their entire heart and just didn't have enough pitching left to fight against this very awesome offense for Wake Forest. But what a valiant effort by West Virginia, and another step closer to their goals in the future, and that's getting to Super Regionals in the College World Series.
Well, congratulations to UMBC, to Maryland, and to West Virginia for providing the opposition, but ultimately the folks here in Winston-Salem got what they wanted to see. The Demon Deacons survive and advance. There's a chance Wake Forest could be hosting Super Regionals next week. Got to see what happens tomorrow between Florida and Bethune-Cookman. Either way, the Demon Deacons know they'll be playing next week for a chance to go to Omaha. For a final time, for John Gregory, I'm Doug Sherman. Thanks so much for watching. So long from Winston-Salem. To watch this entire game on replay as well as all other games on the ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com. This has been a presentation of ESPN.